refugees, returnees, and IDPs, and also as a member of the Permanent Representatives Committee. We are so grateful to this country, the government, and the beautiful people for the hospitality they have offered us since we've come here. We'd like to say thank you. As an Africa, you must appreciate. Secondly, this meeting is useful. So far, we've seen that if we put together the outcomes in the right way, it can be very useful for the African Union as your umbrella body to move us forward towards the Africa we want. More especially, we appreciate the three presidents, heads of state and government, who sat together to speak to us. As ambassadors, their words are instructive. We just say that we put the words together and we pass through the right channel of the African Union so that we can act on what they said. Thank you so much. As a chair of the African Union Commission or the Committee on Refugees, Returnees, and IDPs, Uganda chairs a committee which is also the theme of the year. The theme of the year states that the refugees, returnees, and IDPs towards a durable solution. And that is the Africa we want. But for the purpose of this discussion, we are going to use the concept of Uganda. As you saw in the screen, what we are doing as Uganda to look at the refugees. I'd like to begin by saying that a refugee situation or IDP is not what somebody desires to be. You find yourself in that situation, and therefore you must be supported. As Uganda, we have three pillars which make us handle them differently. The first pillar is humanity. We believe that every human being, wherever they are, be it you are a refugee, it doesn't stop you from having your human rights. Your rights is not derived from your origin or the country of origin, but the blood of origin, which goes beyond Africa, and therefore it's global. It is also Pan-Africanism. In Uganda, we believe that there is no African who must be homeless in Africa. If you are in Uganda, that's your country. And we believe that you must not be an alien if you are in Uganda. Historical background. We were once refugees. If others did not support us, probably the country called Uganda would not be there. Some of you may have heard about the president called Amin. He was ready to wind up Uganda, but because other Africans supported us, fought alongside with our troops, we were liberated. And then we believe that those who are in the same problem that we were should be supported. Our intellectuals in some countries were given opportunities. Those who were professors were allowed to teach in the universities. They were not put in the camps. And therefore we do the same to those who are in our country. Uganda has a history from way back as 1924, before we were independent. The first refugees in the 1940s, after the World War II, the Polish were also who was a Pan-Africanist, was murdered. We received and they are no longer Congolese, my brother, they are now Ugandans. using the legal framework, which is not only Ugandan or national, but international, regional, and which is ours, which is now convention. One convention and the protocol. We also have our own, which is the Refugee Act. Africa we want. The National Development Ministry under the office of the Prime Minister, and it's the Ministry of Refugee. The host community is most the children of the discovered renewal. Their challenge. Refugees arrive when they are armed, because they have come from the armed situation where we've been. We have unaccompanied children, and we have to handle them differently. I tell people that I was once an unaccompanied child who was almost a refugee because I was unaccompanied children. The female-headed homes, where the women are taking care of. Is the refugee medicine, but they don't want to speak about their condition. We give them psychosocial support to make sure that they accept their them and so on. And they're also refugees themselves. We find problems with them. We have offenders, we have conflicts in the camps where they stay, and some of these things are not easily handled. So I would like to say that to get back to your question, we believe that every time you give education opportunity to anybody, you make that person better. Those who are young, we give them formal education. Those who are already grown up, we give them skills education. And those who are not able to go to school, we give them social education. And therefore, for us in Uganda, finally, would like to say that we've come to realize that a refugee can make a better person tomorrow. That is very important. So every time you host a refugee, look at even a president, a leader, or somebody better tomorrow. I want to thank you for listening to me, and I believe that you'll pick something out of what Uganda is doing and take it back to your country. Thank you so much.
Je n'aurais jamais osé.
Humanize, because the migrant is a human being, a refugee is a human being. Take their own lessons from the experiences. The Ugandans have a specific trajectory.
Advance the act on a vision is a social policy and educate, train and optimize the immigrant. We'll also continue with these many ideas. So he's an ambassador of DRC in African Union, and in Ethiopia. He has been working during many years for the HRC, and because his country is well known on conflicts for many years, and also known from its resilience and strategy. So, Your Excellency, you have 10 minutes to share with us what do you think relevant regarding to this topic. Thank you very much. Of peace and establish some sustainable and long-standing solutions in the Congo DRC. my country, which has been suffering for rebellions, particularly its east side. Congo, DRC, as many other African countries, as a result of the historical and geographical aspects, we share 9 borders with 9 different countries. The frictions and the war and other type of fighting in my country has affected the Congo development. Many refugees, we had Angolan refugees who we have accommodated. The Ugandans from Uganda, from Rwanda, and many millions have also participated and suffered from genocide, which affected Rwanda. And from there, since 1974, on war, rebellion, and other type of friction, the armed one of my senior member has described in the opening ceremony of this biennial. He described the numbers of victims as a result of the war in my country. So, which he called the first World African War, which took place in my country. But I'm going to talk in the perspective of fight and creation of, culture of peace. So I'd like to share with you some numbers on categories related to the groups which my country is involved in humanitarian. So we have over 1 million of displaced people in my country, particularly in the east side of the country. We have 250,000 Congolese who have been forced to move to the other neighboring countries. A specific category, almost 100,000 combatants, which in the past were fighting but currently are unarmed, and they are now joining, and also those who have been in diaspora to countries. So all these categories are to, let's say, keep the peace in the country and the disarming and reconciliation in Congo. Unfortunately, the partners, the World Bank and the BAD and the European Union don't allocate the resources to support their integration. Combatant, and the peace fragility becomes bigger, higher, due to the inefficiency of this program. So this been package should be given to the big challenges, because most of the country are under the post-conflict context, and there should be the peace dividends and post-conflict reconciliation, which is weak now. And when I was in Geneva, I remember after the to help overcome the remaining from war. To talk about other challenges. The challenges related to the war, the post-conflict also, and I would also like to talk about the economic situation of refugees. Displays in a sort of arbitrarian committee. They ensure the durability on the existence in a community. The other challenge we have been facing is the illegal exploration of the well-known mining product, which is supporting this conflict. This is of the African continent. So coltan, which has been using by the big companies, multinational, is moved from the refugees to Malaysia, where they can be Moscow approach, because we are in war, and the type of guerrilla which the rebel movement is be using, that the army can restructure its operational approach, but in order to stop the way the Congolese people, it's need of review the way, the internal procedures are being implemented, avoiding any sort of revenge. Since that this is a number of dead people and those who have been killed, left on the sake and nothing, is done that should be effective, and how to recover the confidence so that these issues can be dealt effectively. So, dear moderator, I'd like the Congo Republic, President, the state. So that can be kept in a normal approach into peace. I'm already concluding that he also established relationship, good relationship based on dialogue with neighboring country, so that all time analyzed and the confidence could be reestablished when dealing with military actions into negative zones and climate of confidence could also take the country into peace. I'd like to add also on that it's important to recommend and analyze that the program of armed demobilization and the reconciliation should have a fund and should be strict to the fund on time, because if this program is not considered strictly, violence is going to increase. So it's important to review and evaluate. We had the example Liberia and other countries which have suffered for armed rebellion party. It's important to have effective programs of ex-combatants, ex-soldiers, and establish also programs for ex-conflicts period, and keep the peace, and also taking into account the education, health, which were destroyed during the war period, are not pumped by financing problems as they should be in economical perspective. So your clubs, please, clubs. I'd like to say that my friend Enzo, my brother Enzo, who might be in the room, your intervention will have an impact with UNESCO, the culture of peace.
The culture of peace for us at UNESCO, this is what we're dealing with. We're not just dealing of creating conditions for peace. We have to build the conditions for its stability. We said there are local actors, there are also foreign actors, because international cooperation are also actors, and they play an important role as well. As I said, to service for the trust. To service for the trust. This is an element that is indispensable for the social transformation. I was last week in a conference in Dakar of economical powerhouses, let's say. And in this scope, I say that it was essential that there was a trust between the actors. For us to build this trust, we have to build this bridge. And we at UNESCO, we have a problem of transformation of the social relations. Most means that we have to discuss dialogue. So thank you. This way, I would like to pass the floor to our guest. To our guest. We have Angola that hosts Biennale. Angola has a great experience. Has a great experience in Angola. How do you do to manage that? What can you share with us about this management of your experience with regards to the experience your country had? So my greetings, and I will ask for a round of applause for all. And Angola, always give us good questions over these questions. Thank you for this opportunity. Good morning to all and all in attendance. We feel very happy for being here and be able to share what our policies, the policies of Angola, groups and firstly, I would like to highlight that Angola is a country that protects or respects the human and foreign legal framework referred protocol of the right of the refugees and the obligation of the states. I would like to refer the Protocol of New York of 1967 and also the letter of the African Union with regard to the specific rights of the refugees. In alignment to those international legal frameworks, Angola created the law 10/15 that refers to the rights of the refugees and those that require asylum in the national territory, and in accordance to which is part the creation of CARA, which are the center of hosting refugees and asylum seekers and all others that are related to the protection of refugees. Based to the experience of the hosting of refugees in the province of Rio Norte, to say that in terms of regard to good practices, the government of Angola always maintained open its borders, having hosted our brothers from RDC due to question of coming from the region of Kasai. There are about 23,737 refugees initially before we speak about this spontaneous repatriation of those refugees. To say that in alignment with the policies, we created the centers of counseling of housing for refugees initially, more in a provisory terms, temporary terms. Afterwards, there was the need to create the center of housing of Lova with an extension to host about 50,000 refugees, where those could then be hosted in the best conditions possible. To say that in accordance to this law, we created the multi-sectoral commission to give an answer to the protection to the refugees in Angola, and also the National Council of Refugees that is coordinated by the Ministry of Interior and is made up of the Ministry of Social Assistance and other ministerial departments, given the topic of hosting those refugees. The in the domain of access to education, schools, we build schools with the capacity for class 16 classes, whereby we teach academic activities and singing activities. Also, we teach them Portuguese to those refugees that we are hosting. As far as food is concerned, we give them like a monthly package of food, and also some extra food in cases of children and mothers that are pregnant. As far as productive in conclusion, because we believe it's important to give people the opportunity to be able to self-sustain, that develop some activities there in the field. As far as the protection to children, we created two develop some singing activities or as well as is concerned, and also have medical assistance, the medical centers. In case of emergencies, from the housing center. And also, speaking a bit about the question about gender equality, we have a center of family counseling, giving into account that at this center, the biggest victims have been the victims of violence have been women, and this center has a follow-up that is directed with an expert with questions that are related to violence, and a lawyer to give an answer to the problems that are raised at the counseling center, family counseling center. To say that as far as assistance is concerned, the Ministry of Social Action and Women Promotion is directed to protect, and all intervention made is cross-cutting, meaning that the government works in a way, in an integrated way, to give an answer to the situations that will occur in Angola. We've seen few times ago the exit of 60,000. About 60,000, the request of 60,000 2,000 refugees that manifested their intention to return to their country in partnership with ACNUD, the agencies that give assistance to the refugees, Jesuitas of Angola, the Shinuapi, UNICEF, Doctors Without Borders, and other partners that have been working hard to support the government of Angola. Here I would like to call attention, there is a need when a country sees a massive exit of refugees, count with the support by looking a bit or in articulation with the global pact, so that those our brothers refugees our country in conditions of dignity. Well, I think that with those experiences that I have just shared, I would like to thank the attention that was given to me, and very thank you for having listened to me.
As you can understand, how Angolan has accommodated us. Angola has been accommodating refugees in fraternity, so it's important that we should the national policy of Angola, an international instrument. It's important for the number one goal of this session. Thank you very much. Saying that you have a mechanism, institutional mechanism from with the coordination of the Minister of Home Affairs, and you have also mentioned about the gender aspect. Thank you for that. And you have mentioned about the Angolan government